everybody, and welcome back to the Empire Let's Play series. I've got a couple of big things I want to do today. One is I want to add another crafter contraption to our melon farm, and then I want to move in to the new village. If you joined me on the live stream a couple of weeks ago, we did a ton of diorite mining, and so we have a lot of materials that we're going to use in the new village. And then I want to show you some progress here. So you remember last week we finished up the episode by building a contraption that bundled up all of the iron blocks. And so it's working really, really well. Now there was one small little problem, and that was right up here. There was a hopper, and I wasn't sure what to do with the poppies. Well, let me show you what I came up with here. Round back, if we walk in, see here we've got this barrel that's slowly filling up with bone meal. And what I did is the hopper line up there, rather than run it out the side, I just made it do a hard turn and another hard turn straight down into a composter, straight into a barrel. So any of the poppies that come through the system, they just come down here and they get composted. Over here at the melon farm, we have pumpkins and melons rolling in. And like I was saying, I want to do a contraption that'll bundle all of these up. So we just end up with full melons and full pumpkins. We already have our storage in order here. So all we have to do is make some redstone components, make a crafter, and then assemble it in our melon farm. Let's run over here to the melon farm and see if we can get this thing installed. So right now, this is where all the pumpkins are coming from, and this is where all the melons are coming from. And between the two, you can hear just barely a minecart running back and forth, back and forth. So it collects all of the drops. And what I'm going to need to do is break this connection right here and give this section its own minecart. So I think literally all I have to do is just knock this bit of cobble out and then put a block here, and then this minecart will just bounce back and forth over here, and this minecart will just bounce back and forth over here. On the pumpkin side, the minecart runs across some hoppers, and these hoppers are picking up whatever is in the minecart and taking it over to our collection area. And so what I need to do here is just install a stripe of hoppers here as well. We now have a line of hoppers through the center of the melon farm, and they all get deposited here. And I also removed this lever and put it up there on that block. So hopefully what I'm hoping is that we don't have to change elevation with these hoppers. I can just take the hopper straight across, and then I don't have to worry about bringing the melons down and raising the melons back up. Now the other thing is I need, let's say I have a crafter block here, I need to be able to measure it and send a signal to it, which means I need access to two sides of the crafter block. Just did a little bit of rearranging here. So now we have 1, 2, 3 hoppers facing into this one, and then the rest of them facing over here. And so if we were to put the crafter right here, I think we're going to have enough room on each side to do what I want to do. So let's put a temporary block here, and then put our crafter like so. Okay, we're going to want our output to go in this direction like that. Now we're going to have to put power into a block, but I don't want it to lock any of these hoppers, so I think this is going to be the block that gets powered. So we're going to measure like that. Okay, repeater. I'm going to go here. Then we're going to put a bit of dust right here, like so. Dust goes here. The other comparator goes here. And this is where composter goes. Composter composts. Oh, there's a melon. Oh, but why are we frozen? Why are we stopped? I'm not sure why it's frozen. Take some things out. If that kicks it, the gear. Is it something weird with the timing here? For some reason we're getting a signal here. Where's it coming from? Where is it coming from? That might have done it. I think the comparator was just in the wrong mode. So now we are actually getting melons. Okay. Well, I'm going to trust that that's going to work, and then we need to just run the hopper line all the way over there. Last small adjustment I had to do was I needed to remove this lever because it was locking this hopper, and I needed to remove this lever because it was locking both of these hoppers. And so I went back on top and just replaced the powered rails with standard rails, and it seems to be okay. The minecart's not slowing down enough that it gets stuck or anything. So these 8 are all going to end up being just pumpkins. We still got some melon slices and things in here. And then these 8 are all going to be melons. Yeah, these melons we can put over here, like that. And then we can get these slices out of here. And we could probably run these melons through our system and get them over here. And after a little bit, we've got just pumpkins and just melons. That is fantastic. Okay, that's enough redstone for today. Let's head back over to the village and get some villagers moved in. As we approach the village, you're going to see that I did a little bit of prep work over here. So the first thing you're going to see is I started to sketch out the elevation of the road here. So we can kind of ride right up, and that's kind of where the road's going to go. Other thing you're going to notice is I rounded up a bunch of animals. We've got some horses, we've got the donkeys, even got a cat who somehow is still swimming in the ground. And then I did just a tiny bit of prep work here. So you can see that I figured out where the entrance is going to be. And I'm not sure if we're going to use these materials exactly. I think I want it to be pretty clean, but yeah, we might add another variant in here. As we get to the top, I poked this out a little bit so we could have a couple more doors here. And then I went ahead and I put a floor in here. I'm thinking this is going to just be like sleeping quarters. Like this big space is going to be full of beds. And as you notice, we are kind of up a little bit. There is space down below, which we can enter from outside over there, and we might use it for storage or something. Some of these other places won't have beds in them. They'll just be workstations. So it'll be a little bit of a mix of places for people to sleep and places for people to work. We come over here, rises up just like before, and then we've got this kind of top of the hill area here. And then I finished what happens when we go down the hill. So as you can see, we've got some more spaces here, a couple more doors here. And again, I think I might do like a big sleeping quarters over here. And that way we'll have villagers who can sleep on that side, villagers who can sleep on this side, and they won't have to run all the way across this big old town to find their beds. But it's going to be a pretty big village. I think it's going to be really cool looking once we start to flesh this out. Today, I'd like to do a couple of the buildings. I think this big one on the corner here, and that one we were just looking at over on the other side, and that'll give us some places to put beds, and then we can move some of these villagers in. We are going to primarily work in diorite. We're going to do some dark oak, and I think we might do a little bit of copper. I think that'll be a really interesting and very cool look. We might rope in just a tiny bit of spruce to kind of accent this, but these will be the 3 primary ingredients for this village. Let's start working on one of these buildings and see what happens. is building number 1. Still a little bit bland. I needed to do some decorating and some landscaping, but I generally like the look. The white and dark wood together I think is very sharp. Kind of did this stylized, very low rise roof here. As I had mentioned, we will have some space here that we could potentially use for storage or whatever. As we come up here, we've got a couple of windows on the side. I think that looks fine and great. Here, as you can see, the building is not centered on the street. It's a little weird. And once we have more buildings here, I think it'll be interesting. So I'm hopeful. Need to put a door here, and then we walk in. This is mostly going to be sleeping quarters. Got this nice little balcony overlook, which I think is a very cool thing. Just put a couple of lanterns in here. Again, a couple of windows. And I think this is mostly going to be lined with beds. There we go with the beds, and we'll just put a nice door here, and that's that. The other building that I want to work on today, I think, is going to be this one here. Similarly, we'll have a bunch of beds in here, I think, and then that'll give some sleeping quarters to the villagers who work on this side. And here we have building number 2. Nice sharp roof on this one. I added in a little bit of the copper, which will oxidize over time, and I think that'll look really good. Inside, we're going to have a couple of beds on each of the walls, and then we'll get some more permanent lighting in here eventually. Very cool. Good start. You'll notice around the sides of some of the buildings, the roofs look a little bit weird, and that's because these buildings are going to come up next to these other buildings that I've already started, and I'm going to have to figure out how these roof lines are going to fit together. So that's why the roofs are unfinished here. I want to check something out while I'm thinking about it. I want to update these maps and see what they look like now. This one, lots going on there. Very cool. And this one, there's our new building we just did. But yeah, just a little bit of a start there. I do have a couple of villagers who have stuck themselves in some of these little areas here. And I think what I might do is knock out some of these beds so I can be kind of more intentional about where they decide to kind of set up shop. So I'm going to put just a couple of beds in this space and then a couple of beds in the other space. And that way we can get the villagers to kind of fill the village out a little bit more evenly. I'm going to let a couple of these villagers out. I don't think there's any way for them to sneak out. I don't think there's any stray workstations. The only 2 beds I've got right now are these 2. So if we let this guy out, hello? Oh, he senses something. Let's see what he does. And then I think I've got one in here. Yes. Let's see what happens here. Oh, I think they finally figured it out. Okay, so we've got these two hanging out in this building. Let's see if I can get a couple more villagers in this building over here. I think I've got another guy somewhere. Hello? There's one. There he is. That guy's gonna sleep in this space, and then give him a bed here. I want to get one more villager on this side of the village. See if we can get this guy here to move in. Hello? I want him to come over here. There we go. Perfect. And we'll just put one more bed in here. Like so. Great. We've got this guy, and we should have one more guy here. There he is. Nice. I'm going to seal this up just so we don't get them going back and forth. And I don't think I want to do too much populating until I get some of the workstations figured out. You know, where the different job sites are going to be and all of that. Otherwise, we're just going to have a mess of villagers with nothing for them to do. Plus, it'll be way easier to do some construction if I don't have to worry too much about a bunch of villagers sneaking out. Okay, last thing I want to do today is I want to run back over to Mingus and see how our melon and pumpkin situation is going. In here, we've got some pumpkins, and in here, some melons. I'm kind of surprised there's not more than that. I might double check that things are working right and that our chunk loader is actually working. Well, I found our problem. These hoppers are running right next to some levers, and so the melons come along and they're just sitting in this hopper. So, what could I do? I could just move this hopper line over. That would solve the problem. But, yeah, as I suspected, there's a lot more melons that are needing to come through. Much, much better. Same problem here. I'm surprised there's not more. Yeah, what's going on here? Where's the crafter? Having that same kind of problem where circuit is just sort of stuck. Okay, if I take one tick off of here, still seems to work. Not exactly sure. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. If you have any ideas or if you've seen any other videos or tutorials and I'm missing something, leave me a comment and let me know. Between episodes, I'm going to do a little bit more mining. I'm going to grab some more tuff. And if you've got some time on Sunday, about 2 p.m. Pacific time, I'm going to do a little bit of live streaming and we might do a little bit of work on the road. So tune in for that. Pop by, say hello. I'd really appreciate it. I'm also going to take some of these melons and pumpkins and turn them into emeralds so that we're ready to trade with our new villagers. And that's where I'm going to wrap this one up. If you want to be like these folks and help support the channel, click join down below. Membership starts at 99 cents and it really helps me out. And thanks for watching. I hope you had fun. Please like and subscribe if you want to follow along on the adventure. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.